Hey guys, I'm going to give you a quick lesson on how to make a tea leaf skirt. So the first thing that you need to do is, so once again, you're just going to put your hand right behind the tea leaf. If you can see where my shadow is of my hand, you're going to put your thumb nail right there. Pull the top of the leaf forward just a little bit. Make a little crease like so, and then you're just going to use the back of your hand to push forward at the same time, pushing back the top of the leaf, and then you just want to drag your hand pushing forward behind the tea leaf, and then you can pull off the top. Here you go one more time. So I like to use the length of my thumb. That makes all of the leaves the same length, so from the corner right here forward and slide it out. Once again, it's just a natural grasp of the tea leaf. Pull it forward, pull it back, and slide it out. Let's do one more. There you go. So a quick cheat step that I do when stripping the sides of the leaves to give a nice clean side is I only do one side. So if you're looking at the front of the leaf, you're going to grab the left side about really close to the bone. You're going to push forward with the back fingers and push back with your thumb and just strip away the sides, and that makes a nice clean edge of the leaf. And you only have to do one side because that's the only side that is going to be seen. So in setting up your string, it's good to make it nice and tugged. Don't let it hang down too low because then it'll cause you problems later on. So you want it as tugged as it can be. You're not tying string. Just tie a little knot about a little bit of the ways in. This will help you tie your tea leaves for later. You would have two separate pieces. And this is how I begin my skirt. So first, you're just going to tuck them down, and you're going to crisscross them side by side, making an X. And just tie a knot. So once again, I'm going to take my two tea leaves. The top leaf, I'm going to angle it to the left. The back leaf, I'm going to angle it to the right. And I'm just going to crisscross them right at the stem. I'm going to fold both of them back. Once again, angling top leaf to the left and back leaf to the right. So the back leaf, you want it to sit right on top of the underlying leaf. And this leaf, you want them to tug at each other. So they're not going to be sliding. So hit and hit. You're going to bring your string around. You're going to do the top string over, bottom string over and under. Making sure you pull this up. And that's going to give it a nice clean knot. Always pulling this string towards the back and this string towards the front. Once again, take your two leaves, put the nicer leaf on top, right behind, setting the underlying leaf on top of the back leaf, And the top leaf is going to be stopped right here. You want it to cover just a little portion of the leaves underneath. Pulling this up and putting it tight. View from the back of the skirt, and the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to trim these stems. And the point of this is just to make the skirt more comfortable, so when you're wearing it, it's not full of stems poking you. So basically I'm just going to take them and I'm going to cut them about that much. So you just cut it shorter and then do all the way through. And here is the final look, trimmed all the way through. Now that we've done the back, I'm gonna flip the skirt over and trim the front. A couple things to keep in mind when cutting a skirt is to consider how tall the person is who will be wearing the skirt, and that determines how much of the bottom you want to cut off. And another thing is when I cut my skirts, I like to keep it looking as natural as possible, so I don't do the straight across look. I cut my leaves at a curve. So I will show you what that looks like. So to begin cutting the skirt, I always begin at the top leaf. You understand this one is on top. And then what I do is I stack up about a handful of leaves. And then I tuck them under. So they're all rounded the same way, and that's going to make it easier to cut. And because this top leaf is smaller than the rest, I'm going to actually keep it at its length, and I'm just going to cut this bottom one. So I just made the first cut in the skirt, and as you can see, I left the top leaf at its original length, and I just cut off the very end because they're pokey. So I just trimmed just that pokey spot, and then the leaves underneath, they're all cut with the same curve at the same length. Now the trick to this, it's keeping it straight, is you want to bring these leaves to this leaf when you're cutting to measure. So don't bring this leaf this way. You want to bring all of the leaves underneath straight down. So if this is the original length, this leaf will go straight, and then all the leaves underneath will form this way rather than pulling this leaf in that direction. I hope that makes sense. And then I will do the same thing, tuck all the leaves underneath. Make sure that they're all together, and then I will just cut following this. I'm about halfway through the skirt, and I hope you can see that the curves that I've made in the cutting of the leaves, the idea of the look that I'm trying to get. And I'm just gonna finish it up. And I just wanted to show you guys that after I make my cut, I always just throw those leaves to the side, but I keep the last leaf. I push them up, so I kind of just work straight across, and then I throw those leaves up and out of the way, and then I use this leaf to continue cutting it through. And here is the final look of the skirt.